Just when Analisa and Beta were ready to wipe their hands clean of Mark, he agreed to go with Beta to this center to talk about potentially getting a job. And since Mark did that, Analisa thought Mark was really putting an effort in and was taking things serious. But next thing you know, he's MIA again, and he hasn't been home in over 3+ days. And at this point, I think Mark just needs to stay where he's been staying, because obviously he does not want to be at Analisa and Beta's. He would much rather be there. And I just hate how he keeps dipping out on filming. I feel like 75% of this season with their storyline has just been Analisa and Beta, because Mark isn't anywhere to be found. And that's disappointing, because I really wanted to see Mark live there as a roommate and get adjusted to being in the free world. But at this point, Mark is literally just doing the bare minimum when it comes to filming. It seems like he makes sure he pops in the house a few times a week for a few minutes, just so he can get that little bit of camera time to make sure he's on the episode and will get paid. And then he just goes on, and then when he is there and they do interview him, he doesn't. The few minutes we do see him, it's like he's not willing to provide any insight into what's going on in his life. And the few times we do see him, and it's never for long, he's just not giving any information about his experience post-prison, like this show is supposed to be about. Like, they'll ask him, where have you been? What have you been doing? And he'll just be like, oh yeah, living life. He's real short, and you can tell he's not being fully transparent. And I want to just see him be open and be vulnerable, but we just don't get anything beyond that. And Analisa's at her limit with Mark, and she's at the point where there's no other option but to just search around and try to see if he's in any hospitals or jails. He's interrupting Analisa and Beta's day-to-day lives because they're worried about him. Meanwhile, Mark's out here, and he don't give a damn about anybody but himself. And they have been calling him non-stop, texting him, and his phone has been on, and he's just been ignoring them this whole time. And it's like, man, just send him a quick text and be like, yo, I'm at wherever. You know, you don't even have to go into details. Be like, I'm at a friend's house, I'm at a girl's house, I'll be back at so-and-so time, just to stop them from worrying. And Analisa's at the point to where if she doesn't get a hold of Mark soon, then she's ready to just call his probation officer and let him handle it. Because technically, Mark is supposed to be spending the night at their house every single night, because their address is the address that Mark used for his home plan for probation. And Analisa admitted that she isn't going to risk getting in trouble to cover for Mark. At this point, Analisa is over it all, and she's just ready to pack his bags and move on with her life. But Beta insists that they need to sit down, they need to talk to Mark and be willing to give him another chance, even though he's doing everything in his power to ignore them while he's not around. And Beta said he's against the idea of Analisa reaching out to his PO, because he just does not want to see another young black man get sent back to prison. And I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think it's to the point where she needs to call his PO and get him sent back to prison today. I would just tell Mark, look, you got a day or two to find somewhere to stay, and then I'm going to contact your PO and say that this is no longer your address, so you can contact them with your new address. And Analisa doesn't understand why it seems like Beta is more on Mark's side compared to her. He's the one who said at the beginning of their season, oh, happy wife, happy life, and it just seems like he's doing everything but making his wife happy. Like, I get it. Beta is very empathetic. He's willing to give more chances than most. Beta just needs to understand that you cannot help someone who does not want to help themselves. And if it's this bad from the jump, just imagine how it's going to be 6 months down the road, a year down the road, 5 years down the road. It's only going to get much worse. And I think that Mark just does what he needs to do when he realizes he's in hot water or realizes he's about to get kicked out. He'll do whatever he needs to do to get things fixed and, you know, put on a good front, and then next thing you know, he's right back to his same old ways and nothing ever changes or gets fixed. At this point, Analisa thinks that the best place for Mark to go is back to prison because she feels like he obviously has not learned his lesson and made the most out of his time when he was in prison. And I don't know if he should go back to jail yet, but here's what I think Analisa and Beta should do. I feel like they need to take some pointers from what we saw Kathy and Daniel do once Devin went and relapsed and went to jail. They realized, look, we don't have the tools to help him, and obviously he's not ready, so they put him in like this transitional living facility where he will be held more accountable, and there he can get structure and discipline he desperately needs. At a sober living facility, these people know how to handle these situations, and it's their job, so at night they still get to go home and have a break and not deal with it. And I know Analisa and Beta revealed in an interview that they have houses for people who are fresh out of prison or people who have aged out of the foster system, and God bless them for that. But when you live with Mark, you don't get no breaks from the BS. It's 24/7. I couldn't do all that. And later on in the episode, we see Analisa and Beta, and they're cleaning up their home. And next thing you know, someone is knocking on the door. And Beta opens it, and look who it is, Mark. And he just walked in all nonchalant, like he owned the place. And then he started speed walking to his bedroom. I think he really thought if he power walked fast enough and went straight to his bedroom that they would not say anything to him. And of course, you know, Annalisa's been waiting 3 days on this man, so she starts walking up saying, where have you been, where have you been? And he goes to his room and slams his door like a freaking toddler teenager. And she starts knocking on his door. She's like, dude, you are not gonna lock me out of my room in my freaking house. And Mark eventually opens the door, and she's going off on him. She's like, dude, you have no respect, you're not listening, and if your PO calls and asks if you're here, I'm gonna say you're not here. So then he starts trying to spin it like, okay, yeah, you're a snitch, of course you would, bet. I don't think I mentioned this already, and I apologize if I did, but Mark admitted that when he got out of prison that Beta and Analisa were his last option, and he had a few other places that he tried to home plan that did not get approved. And what I think is going on is Mark is over at someone's house, whether it be a girl or his friend. This is pure speculation, but what I think happened is Mark probably tried to use this person's address where he's been hanging out at when he's not at Analisa and Beta's, and he probably tried to use their address and move in with them from prison, but for some reason his PO denied it, whether it be because they're a felon or it could be many other reasons. And Mark was like, okay, I'll just use Analisa and Beta's address and go there from prison, but then I'll just pretty much stay at this other address the whole time, so I can kind of weasel my way around to still getting what I want. Then Analisa threw up her hands and told Beta it was his turn to take care of things. So Beta comes walking in, and Mark was like, I just don't understand why you guys are so concerned with where I've been. And he goes on to say, oh, if you left for somewhere for 2 days, I want to be all up your butt wondering where the hell you been when you got back. But the thing is, Mark told Beta and Analisa he wanted them to help hold him accountable, and he agreed to these rules and stipulations when he moved in. And like Beta said, he walked in like he owned the house. If you want to be able to do what you want to do, unfortunately you're gonna have to buy your own spot. That's just part of how it is. I think Beta needs to start stepping in more. I know he's a non-confrontational type of person, but he should have not let Mark get away with the way that he talks to Analisa in their home. I would be stepping in and saying, no, you are not going to talk to my wife like that. you guys are going to sit down and talk respectfully to each other, because if he acts like he does not take Analisa seriously, then Mark's not going to take her seriously either. Veda should have been in between Analisa and Mark to make sure nothing happened and to protect his wife, especially when I saw the preview for next week where it looks like things get pretty crazy. Analisa's pounded on the bathroom door and Mark's in the bathroom refusing to open the door, just being disrespectful, and she busts through that door like the freaking Kool-Aid man, and it kind of looked like they were kind of pushing on each other. I didn't get to see much because they cut it off real quick, but next thing you know, you see Veda running down the hallway trying to get in between them, but he should have been in between them to begin with. Veda's gonna have to make a decision. He's gonna have to either choose his wife's peace of mind or choose continuing to give Mark chances when he clearly disrespects him and his whole family, because there's just no way the two can coexist in the long run. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. Check out my lashes at AccordingtoAmber.com. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.